I'd like to welcome Minister Ayres and hand over to you.
Thanks, Sarah. It's fantastic to be here with so many people, over 1,000 on the call. And can I please start by acknowledging Uncle Tony for his very warm welcome to country. I thought, Sarah, that with so many nations represented on this call, and with Tony's incredibly warm welcome to country and the recognition of how important Aboriginal Australians are to the Western Parkland City, there's some really beautiful symmetry there, that this has actually been a multinational or multicultural community for thousands and thousands of years. And so we're actually continuing a tradition of bringing people from different countries and different cultures together to grow and to prosper. And so as we start to today's forum, Tomorrow's City Today, I think looking back and seeing what has gone on this land before, there are a lot of things that we can learn from that so that we can build a really solid foundation and grow and prosper into the future. And also, Sarah, I think it's really important to recognise that the economic opportunities that come from the growth of the Western Parkland City and the Bradfield City Centre can be shared with Aboriginal people. In fact, we want Aboriginal people to be one of the largest economic beneficiaries of what we're able to do in this community. After all, they are the original custodians of the land, and they, more than anyone, deserve its economic prosperity. It's a really exciting time to be in Western Sydney. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Here in New South Wales, we've battled, like the rest of the globe has, the insidious impacts of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic. But I love the fact that we're meeting on the day after we have reached 70% fully vaccinated in this state. And we're moving very rapidly to 80% and towards 90%. It's been an extraordinary effort on behalf of the population of New South Wales, as well as our New South Wales Health Service. And when backed up with the supply of vaccine, New South Wales has set an absolute world record pace. We've got more people vaccinated faster than just about anywhere else in the globe. And I think a big driving force around that is because this community is fundamentally a globally connected community. It wants to engage with the globe. It wants the globe to engage with Western Sydney. And so we are meeting today at a time where we should be focused on the future, where we should be focused on economic opportunity, where we should be focused on making sure that we take full advantage of the reflection that we've all gone through during the course of this pandemic. There's no doubt that we have learned lots of lessons. We've learned a lot about resilience. We've learned a lot about the weaknesses in our economy, and we need to take full advantage of those lessons and prepare ourselves for a much stronger future. There's no doubt in my mind that the Western Parkland City, what we're doing at the Aerotropolis and in the Bradfield City Centre, will really leverage on those concepts. We'll build on those concepts, particularly around resilience and creating greater opportunities for future generations. Through the course of today's forum, you're going to hear from a number of people. So many quality people in my team at the Western Parkland City Authority. You've already heard from Dr. Sarah Hill, who is the organisation's leader. You'll hear from many of the people in that team who are leading the particular parts of today's forum and what they do on a daily basis. You'll also hear after me from one of the most accomplished Australians we have, Jennifer Westacott AO. Not only is she the head of the Business Council of Australia, she's also the chair of the Western Parkland City Authority, and her enthusiasm for making sure Western Sydney doesn't just shape New South Wales, but indeed shapes the nation, is something that I am incredibly proud to have in our team, and I'm really enthusiastic about working with Jennifer on making sure we deliver on that vision. A couple of other people that you'll hear from, not from the New South Wales government today. I wanted to call out a couple of them, particularly Anish Sharmi from Vitex Pharmaceuticals, a wonderful example of a business that has grown and prospered in Western Sydney already, but is already thinking about what happens in a post-pandemic world and how the growth and prosperity of Western Sydney can help drive that business. And there are plenty of lessons to be learned out of Anisha's journey already, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what Anis has to say. And I've got no doubt that people will benefit from a lot of his experience as well. And I also wanted to call out Simon Hickey, the CEO of the Western Sydney Airport. This has been the catalytic investment from the Commonwealth Government to really shape and drive our thinking around Western Sydney. When the decision was taken to build an airport in Western Sydney, I was fundamentally committed to the idea of making sure this was Western Sydney's first airport, not just Sydney's second airport. We needed to make sure that the airport was connected to Western Sydney and it allowed Western Sydney to be connected to the world. So much of that investment in the airport has driven the next round of investment and vision and strategic thinking across the Western Parkland city. And you'll hear through today's forum how we're taking that to a new level, where you'll hear about our new education training model, the NEDO. This is about making sure that the skills are available in Western Sydney to allow businesses to grow here, both domestically and internationally. You'll hear about the emerging opportunities in agribusiness and how we're using land use planning and infrastructure and logistics connections to really allow Western Sydney to become an agribusiness powerhouse, taking paddock to plate in the shortest possible time available. We know Western Sydney already has an exceptionally strong tradition in freight and logistics. But when you're connecting to the world with a new airport, when you've got billions of dollars of new road and rail infrastructure, we're going to make Western Sydney a freight and logistics superpower. And on top of that, you'll also hear from many other people from the New South Wales government, particularly about our major projects like the Sydney Metro rail line. So there's no doubt there's lots going on in this part of the world. Over $20 billion worth of investment. It's unlike anything else anywhere in the world. And at its heart is governments working closely together and working closely with industry and with local citizens. We're getting land use planning aligned. We're working closely with local councils, particularly through the city deal, which is probably the foundation stone of the entire Western Parkland city concept. And so I also want to recognise who's going to speak just after me, George Bricevich, the Mayor of Campbelltown, and he's also the Chair of the Parkland City Councils. I think the reason I'm so enthusiastic and happy about George being on this call is George and I come from different political parties. I'm from the blue team, George is from the red team. But all the way through this, George and I have shared the same vision for our community, the same objective of making sure residents of Western Sydney get the economic prosperity that they deserve. And George is such a strong champion of putting people before politics. And we'd be able to come this far because of people like George Bricevich and his leadership to make sure that we're all engaged, we're all connected, and we're all pushing in the same direction. So it doesn't matter what political colours you have, what tier of government you're from, what industry you're in, or what country you come from. This is a united team effort that's coordinated by the Western Parkland City Authority. Now, there's no doubt that it's pretty dynamic in Western Sydney at the moment. If you drove down the Northern Road, you would see billions of dollars of road infrastructure. You would see billions of dollars of airport being constructed, one of the largest civil earth-moving projects in Australia's history. You would also see the early works and the geotechnical analysis for a new metro rail line so that the population across Western Sydney can not only be connected to the airport, but also can be connected across that strong north-south corridor. 100 years ago, a guy called J.J. Bradfield started to design the electrified rail network for Sydney. Some politicians back then called him the most visionary Australian we've ever had. In many respects, today, we're continuing on his idea of being forward-looking. And 100 years ago, he was contemplating the construction of a bridge that connected the eastern half of our city over a north-south divide. Today, we're building a new rail line without a bridge and a harbour, but to connect the populations across the Western Parkland city. I love the symmetry of the things he did 100 years ago and the consistency of approach that we're applying today. Whilst the technology might be different, the people may be a little bit different, we're much more diverse than we've ever been, those fundamental principles about agglomeration, economic opportunity, investing in infrastructure, and be outward looking and globally connected have not changed since the day JJ Bradfield was shaping the Sydney as we know it. These are the things that we get to build upon. Today's forum is about introducing you to the progress that we've made, about introducing you to the next steps and where you can be more involved. We know as a government, the direction that Western Sydney takes will be the direction that New South Wales takes. And the direction that New South Wales takes is the direction Australia will go. We know how important it is to continue to diversify our economy, to allow New South Wales to be a state that goes back to building things. It's got a strong track record of manufacturing. In fact, Western Sydney is a manufacturing heartland already. But as we see small and medium businesses move in the space of technology, change the way they operate, we need to make sure Western Sydney stays a manufacturing heartland by becoming an advanced manufacturing powerhouse. To do that, we've got to bring industry, research, technology, all together in one place. And that's exactly what we're doing at the Bradfield City Centre. These are all about creating more opportunities for your businesses and your nations to invest in Western Sydney and have a shared prosperity. This shared prosperity allows you to bring your expertise and partner with our newly educated or micro-credentially trained local residents to ensure businesses that you invest in can keep growing. Since 2018, we've been working with our foundation partners to make sure that we've embedded the concept of investment attraction and embedded the concept of business growth into the fabric of the Parkland City Authority. We've never just wanted to be a planning agency. We've never just wanted to be a development authority. We wanted to be something that could work across all of the diversity of Western Sydney and really be strongly focused on investment attraction, an unwavering commitment to skilling our local citizens, and a clear commitment and focus about making sure we're engaged across the globe. The New South Wales Government has continued to drive substantially when it comes to infrastructure investments. I've touched on already the over $20 billion of infrastructure that's happening in the Western Parkland City now, that's focused around connecting the Aerotropolis, Bradfield City Centre, and the Nancy Bird Walton Western Sydney Airport to our wonderful Sydney City. It's something that I've never seen before in public office, and it's something that is not found anywhere else across the OECD. This level of commitment across multiple governments, backed up with budget, is really going to shape the direction this entire nation goes. So much of today's forum is about making sure you understand the direction we're taking and where those opportunities for your businesses can come. I really hope through the course of the day that you get to learn more about the infrastructure agenda that the New South Wales Government and the Commonwealth Government are delivering on, the timeframes around how those projects are proceeding, and how you might be able to participate in those. You'll also have the opportunity to hear about the wonderful development of our agribusiness precinct. This agribusiness precinct is taking full advantage of the infrastructure and freight and logistics connections that are emerging in Western Sydney. Over decades past, Western Sydney was full of market farms. It fed Sydney from those market farms. Now Western Sydney has the opportunity to be that agribusiness gateway to the world, connecting regional New South Wales to a truly internationally connected airport with short supply chain opportunities, particularly around freight and cold storage. So you can move produce from regional New South Wales, or even right next door to the airport, to a plate in North Asia or Europe or the Americas in under 36 hours. It's an extraordinary opportunity and one we should all look to buy into. It's also a wonderful opportunity for you to hear more about what's happening in the Bradfield City. This Bradfield City Centre is the core of our Aerotropolis. It's Sydney's new city. If you think about Sydney, Parramatta, and Bradfield, they stand as three anchor points across the three significantly strong areas of the broader metropolitan Sydney location. It's forward thinking and it's absolutely focused on new and emerging technologies. It's also fantastic for me to announce today that Hassel, the design company that's helped us deliver the new International Convention Centre in Sydney or the Optus Stadium in Perth, has been selected to design our new advanced manufacturing centre at the heart of the Bradfield city. We're doing the land use planning and now we're designing buildings. Only a few short years ago, there was lots of discussion about whether we'd actually build an airport in Western Sydney. Look how far we have come now. We've come from that discussion to actually awarding design contracts for the first building in the Western Parkland city core, the Bradfield City Centre. So much progress has been made in such a short period of time. That progress has been made because the New South Wales government, along with its council partners and the federal government, have a really clear vision for what we're delivering in this part of the world. That vision has been backed up by clear leadership and clear decision making. That means funding has followed those decisions. On top of that, we've undertaken one of the largest land use planning exercises in the history of Australia, across 11,500 hectares surrounding the airport. It's a very substantial exercise to engage with that many landowners to talk about their future on such a large scale. So we're making sure that we meet those challenges and we bring the community with us. This is all about shared prosperity. The more successful Western Sydney is, the more successful our entire state will be. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you get lots out of the sessions that you have been involved in. I said at the start, it's an exciting and dynamic time in Western Sydney, which means that it's an exciting and dynamic time right across the nation. Wherever you are in the world today, wherever you are in New South Wales, whatever institution or industry that you're engaged on, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, there is an opportunity for you in the Western Parkland city. Thank you so much for joining us. Please enjoy the day, and I will hand over to George.